live on YouTube, but we aren't live on Facebook yet. To go live on Facebook, we wait. It should pop up over here. Boom. Connecting. Oh, it's coming. The feed's coming through.
Look at
Okay,
these
perfect.
young whippersnappers. How's it going? Merry Christmas.
So now,
Merry Christmas to you.
Good to
we
see
now
you.
we're live. Now over
What's
here.
this young guy's
Since we've
name?
got that.
Seth.
He was
Hey,
one
Seth.
One of our interns.
Hey, Seth. Chris
This is
Gould.
Chris
Good
Gould,
to
he's the
have you here.
general
I
manager.
like the bow tie.
Thank
He
you.
was in a
Tucker-
Santa suit last night.
You know, Tucker used to wear a bow tie.
Yeah, Tucker
Did
Carlson.
you know that?
Are you Tucker Carlson? Do you know him? Have you ever seen him?
I never seen her before.
Okay. He's
Yeah.
he's a young and
Well,
buff-ish, isn't he?
very handsome. I like it.
There's certainly one in the booth for the sound. Alright, I'll be running some tests.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay,
Alright,
we're good?
live. Yep.
Thanks, Zach. Okay.
Got this. I'm gonna do my.
So, clear head. Let's pray. Clear head. We're streaming. We're streaming now. So, online. Straightforward. About 30 seconds. Whatever. Yeah, they're just car-sized drones, around. We have no idea. I'm gonna be Here.
Thank you. Yeah, that's something.
Welcome to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. We are here 3 to 4 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and we exist for one reason, is to serve you, the public. That's what the media is supposed to do. That's why we wake up in the morning. If we go to sleep at night, that's what we do, so we can get up and we can serve you. If you don't have media that's serving you, if you have media that's serving their own interests, even serving their advertisers, and of course we serve our advertisers, but we serve our advertisers by serving you. We serve you, more people come, our advertisers get more exposure, and hopefully, because you like that they're paying the bills here, that they're providing this service to you, that you patronize them, and we get in this wonderful loop of supporting each other. But we're not here to serve the advertisers. And that's very strange in media, because so much is about serving the advertisers, or some kind of special interest, or some kind of agenda of the organization that is controlling, owns that media organization, or maybe even the holding company that owns the stock in the company that owns the media company. See, that's how convoluted it gets. And then you wonder why, the news just doesn't seem to add up, or why do we seem to get some kinds of stories but not others? So you get that strange feeling that there's something wrong going on, and there is, and we've known that. But the question is, how do we fix it, right? It's easy, it's depressing to complain about it. I like taking action. I like fixing things, at least in my purview. So that's why I'm so hyper-focused in everything I do, just on this area that I live in, and I hope that you are too. Like to read about things that are going on around the world, but really I can't do anything other than pray for those things. prayer is very effective. So I'm not suggesting that you not pray about things. But really, when we do get out of bed in the morning and our feet hit the ground, we're here. And so in order to serve you, we have been chasing down a story that for some reason, and we suspect, but I'd love to find out from those news organizations what they're thinking and why they're doing this, and get a legit answer. Is that it's not really being told. It's if you go in and you put in Yemi, Mayor Yemi, hate crime hoax into Google, you'll see what's out there. And you would think that with all the news organizations in town, the fact that this information has been out, it would be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, November 21st, it came out in the Daily Wire, that we would have a lot more, and that these organizations would be looking into this. What is this? If you haven't heard of it, so far, is that back in 2023, what candidate Yemi Mobilade was running with the 11 other mayoral, or actually when he got into the runoff election with Wayne Williams, there was a supposed hate crime that happened, but it seems like it was a hoax. One of his campaign signs with the N-word spray painted on it, a burning cross in front of it, videotaped, sent to the media along with a letter, and it turns out, allegedly, because there are federal charges for 3 individuals at this point, that this was done in order to help his campaign, being a black candidate running against a white candidate. And what the Daily Wire article alleges is that Mayor Yemi knew about this before, during, and after. He was in communication with these people. He knew them. In the federal charges, there are text messages from them to him. Any response back has been redacted. That Yemi knew, and that when the feds, the FBI, came and interviewed him, he lied to them about the information. And then the Department of Justice decided to not prosecute him because how can we go after the first black mayor, or more accurately, the first elected black mayor of Colorado Springs? And that's the story that's been out there. But it's much deeper than that. It goes to a lot of other places. We're just scratching the surface on it. We're doing today our seventh show that is at least dominantly on this subject. And we have back with us our regular here, our peak investigative journalist Jordan Baldwin, to update you throughout the program about what he's been chasing down, because he's really hustling on this thing. Jordan, welcome back to the peak.
Thanks for having me back.
And mostly, he's out on the street doing these things. So while we're going through this, we have some headlines coming up next, including some things about Yemi, but other things on this day, as the Yemi story isn't everything, but we think it's big. And we'll explain why a little bit later, why we're continuing to chase this down. We're also going to be going, because the timeline on this crime and who was involved, it's getting really complicated. And if you're trying to track with it, which I think you should. You'll be interested in doing this, so you can be part of learning the truth yourself. We're going to be explaining the timeline and other things, because we have whistleblowers showing up that are giving us some real inside information. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to The Peak, and we'll be right back.
What do you think of this drone thing?
Yeah, I'll mention, the drones. Has anybody seen them here?
Right.
Yeah, this is, I should mention.
I haven't seen any yet, but I've been looking.
Yeah, they're claiming that this is normal. There's, they're just aircraft that are up there, and they've been up there a lot. People just haven't noticed it.
Right.
And the 6 foot drone. You ever seen a 6 foot drone?
No. I think I saw some AI videos showing crashed ones. I don't even know if they're real, but
Yeah, those are the kind of drones that they're flying in, the kamikaze drones in Ukraine and Russia and stuff. Okay, let me review this. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we'll do the mayor. The lawsuit dropped. It's amazing. He was convicted of first-degree murder for orchestrating a killing, and the jury deliberated for less than an hour. How's that even possible?
What did you say?
In his conviction for first-degree murder for orchestrating the killing of William Underwood, the jury deliberated for less than an hour.
And that's why we were asking that. That's why I said we should ask the DA that question: is what's the fastest he? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that was something I was wondering.
I mean, it's got to be more complicated than that.
You'd think.
I mean, have you reached out to get the the court transcripts from the trial?
Yeah, we're waiting on a federal court to come back.
You know, let's mention that then.
Yeah, but they've been blocking our court. I don't think we recorded that
But
specifically.
you know what? That's something to update people on.
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
blocking the chorus.
But we have not recorded that specifically. But I will.
Okay,
But yes, they have sent us blanket requests back that make absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Okay, well that's more interesting than this other stuff. Let's get into that. You know, we've been actively pursuing something and being blocked. Okay, we're back in under 30.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and I'm joined by our Peak investigative journalist Jordan Baldwin through the hour. This is another one of our Did Mayor Yemi Know? I think this is number 7 today. Why have we been doing so many of these shows? Because this is a really deep story, and it's very interesting to us. And no one else in town seems to be researching it. If they are, we don't know about it. They're not really putting out any preliminary reports. All indications are nothing to see here, move along. And so we, committed to you that we would say the quiet stuff out loud, that we would be hyper-local. And I can't think about anything more hyper-local than the mayor of the core city in our broadcast. Of course, we cover the whole Pikes Peak region, but we're, of course, centric to Colorado Springs and El Paso County, that our mayor has been accused of an egregious crime. And nobody seems to be looking into it much. They seem to be defaming the reporters, kill the messenger kind of thing, which the media shouldn't do. The media isn't here to put out hit pieces. That's what public relations firms do. And I would hope that our local media are not fancy public relations firms that also publish or broadcast, but they're actually news organizations. But the other thing is it's really our responsibility in order to look into these things, because as journalists we can find stuff out that maybe people who don't talk to the police, they don't want to, but they'll talk to journalists, and those things are confidential. That's covered under what we do. So we should be doing this all together, and so we invite you to join us here. I mean, on this story, or even if you want to cover sports or arts and entertainment or anything, to join us here, because we are a citizen journalist organization, and we have interns, we have citizen journalists, we have our local business sponsors, we have techs, we have Seth, again, back running the board today, one of our high school interns that's here, that's really learning how radio works. But what we need more than anything else are journalists, citizen journalists who want to cover in some capacity, and so we invite you to take part in that. So this is our headline segment. Traditionally, if we can say that, we're coming up in January on a year on the air, is we do Faith and Family today, but we've been suspending different programs in order to cover this Yemi story, and so we have one of those. But first, people had heard during the election, the mayoral election in 2023, that Mayor Yemi, who owned some establishments, meeting establishments, food establishments, that he was involved in a lawsuit because of not paying a vendor. He had a business partner who seeming that he embezzled from the company or mismanaged the company and was being sued by Shamrock Foods for around $100,000 of not paying their foods. If you know Shamrock, it's a great food restaurant supply food distributor that you can go to also. It's not exclusive to that. Just a little plug for Shamrock because I like them there. We buy stuff there. But that it seems that those charges or the investigation, the lawsuit, where's my article here, has been dropped, and we don't know why. Presumably there was some settlement. But that is something that's just in there because as we're establishing, who is Yemi? And this is something that was never really looked into or never really asked. Probably really all of our candidates. I do a voter guide called Church Voter Guides, where we have the candidates answer questions up to 120 words per answer and have many different questions. And so we actually, it's in their own words, but we through there get to learn about the candidates. And Yemi answered all the mayoral candidates. I think we had all of them in there. And so we get to learn about that. But the media overall, other than asking, some basic questions, we never really learn about these people. And, of course, people have a right to be private citizens, but not when they're running for office, not when they want to be a public official, especially at this level. And Yemi, coming in saying that he was a businessman and a successful businessman, well, based on some of these things, that can be called into question. And why does that matter? Well, I like Yemi. I don't know if he'd consider me a friend, but I do. I like Yemi. I've talked to him quite a bit and know him, and I like him personally. But when you represent yourself as something and people elect you to be able to do something, there should be some background checking of is this stuff actually true? And so it's good to understand, okay, he had many businesses, but how were they run and how did they end up, especially as he is a strong mayor over our whole whole city here and has so much influence and so much control. And so this is just another news item to remember that this happened, but it seems somehow it was settled, but that's sealed and we don't know how. Okay, to a core thing about that we're getting into today. Man accused of hate crime hoax in Colorado Springs likely to have attempted murder trial delayed. And this is an article that was in the Gazette about a week ago regarding Derek Bernard. And you're going to hear Derek Bernard's name a lot because he is at the center of all of this. And he was scheduled to appear, Derek Bernard, in the 4th Judicial District Court on about a week and a half ago for a status conference ahead of his jury trial scheduled to begin on January 27th. He faces several charges, including attempted first-degree murder and for allegedly shooting at 2 Colorado police officers in 2020 in retaliation for arresting a woman who he had a relationship and a child with. Thing is, he's already in jail, convicted of first-degree murder, not for committing the murder, but having someone else commit the murder. And so he was not granted the right to travel to this hearing. He wasn't there, and there's so many things going on. And when we say establishing character, it's not just for Mayor Yemi, but it's for everybody. And why is that important? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to tell you what the truth is. We're going to present facts, put it in context, try to sort this through, do timelines. But if we can remember that the media is not here to decide what truth is and then tell you what it is and how to think, but we're here to present you with information so you as a sovereign individual can make this up for yourself, is that we need to know the character of the people who are testifying. Because if someone says something, it may not be true. Have they lied before? That's why, did Yemi know? Did Yemi lie? Well, if you think one way about him, you could say that would be impossible. Yemi would not do that. If you know him as some other people claim to know him, you would say, yeah, absolutely. He might be someone who would do that. And it's not we're not going to, in the end of the day, tell you whether he did or didn't. We're going to present as much information as we can until there's obviously some conclusive evidence, and we will. But Jordan Baldwin, what do you have to say regarding Derek Bernard? And I know we're going to be getting into the timeline later, but I know you've had some correspondence with him. We're seeking to get more information. Who is this person?
Well, this person, I feel like, is somebody who's very active in the community, very well connected, had a lot of support from even officials. I mean, I'm starting to see that there's a lot of public officials this person had on their side. Family Flavors the Slide had a lot of events they were doing. But Derek in particular, he's been through a lot. He had a lot of charges that were in the past, but these charges, there's a certain point from what I learned where he had got out of jail, wanted to better his life, started Family Flavors the Slide, And then all this new set of circumstances started taking place with these new charges that came down on him that seemed to drop at select times, which is what was really concerning to me, is the timing of when they dropped these indictments on him for the charges leading up to the hoax that we're reporting on right now.
Okay. So we'll be getting into more of that later as we get into the next few segments regarding this, and I hope that you're interested enough to tag along with this. We're in no way giving you all the information. We're giving you, some of it, pieces that we think are relevant. Okay, last one. This article I just saw in the Gazette from a couple days ago. Colorado Springs churches offer Blue Christmas as alternate to Christmas Eve services, and what this is these are services for people who don't want to go to a big festive Christmas Eve service, and because this time of year may represent some loss to them. And we understand that. If you've lost loved ones, this can be a sad time of year. And so these services are not as festive, they're quieter, they're more contemplative, and I get that. But I just want to say this, as this is officially Faith and Family Day. We've made it, if we're celebrating, if Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Jesus, make it about him. We always say, remember the reason for the season. While this is very respectful, and I understand why churches need to comfort people who are mourning, to have services of mourning around Christmas, I think we're making it too much about us and not enough about him. And that's my little bit of commentary at the end here. Get festive, be happy, and get it off yourself and make it about the Messiah if you believe that he is. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. We'll be right back.
I like that. So this one will be about the signs.
What?
So we'll be going
This
into
is
the
signs of the signs.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect.
And do you want to just monologue on this? And
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
I have, I'm just going to go over the basics, and I am going to bring up the one particular incident, Stovall incident, but not get into the background details too much because there won't be time. But we can just talk about what I learned about them investigating it. I can look if you want. I'm looking. Was Rachel running for HD 17?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 minute. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer. And if you want to see us, you can check out our Facebook Live or our YouTube stream that we do pretty much every day. We can get the technology running. And go to Facebook, The Peak News Media, YouTube, The Peak News, and check us out on there. And a shout out to one of our sponsors, our gold sponsor, Home Comfort Heating and Air. Vern's a good friend of mine. He does all the HVAC in our house. And Home Comfort Heating and Air, where if it's not okay, you don't pay. And we very much recommend Vern and everybody else. Pretty much all the sponsors I know I'm friends with, patronize them. I mean, this is what doing business and doing media and just living in a local community is about. And this local news that we do here is supported by these local businesses because that's important and they believe in what we're doing. If you have a business or organization or know and you'd like to become a Peak sponsor also, we invite you to do that. Go to thepeak.news and under our sponsorship advertising page and reach out to us and let's talk about you being here, being promoted to our audience and supporting our journalistic efforts here to serve the community in a hyper-local way. So we're calling this segment The Signs of the Times because at the center of this hate crime hoax controversy was a sign, a political sign, yard sign, had the N-word spray painted on it, and then a burning cross was put in front of it. Seemed really hoaxy from the very beginning, and it seems that it was. But there were other incidents of signs, of political signs. And again, this is all as we're establishing the story and the people involved in it. All of these are important data points that we're bringing to you. So Jordan Baldwin, our investigative journalist from First Amendment Media, our top investigative journalist here and also leading our investigative team. Jordan, let's talk about the signs of the times.
Yeah, so definitely some weird signs of the times here. We have discovered new evidence that the spray painting of local campaign signs, it isn't an isolated incident at all, and that there is one in particular incident here locally with somebody named Rachel Stovall.
Okay, well we have to say we know Rachel. Rachel's actually has been on the Peak, has helped us put the Peak together. She's been involved with the local community, especially African American community, black community, however you want to refer to it, as well as in media, a lot involved in local radio stations, as well as here. She used to work for here at Salem way back, like 20 years ago, and also does an editorial for the Gazette on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, really heavily involved in media. So was running for HD 17, had her campaign sign spray painted with the words "killer" across it. So what I thought was really interesting is that it appears to be the same type of paint, the same style writing, yet it doesn't seem consistent with the motivations behind the Yemi hoax indictment. So that was a little concerning and curious.
And a little background on that. Rachel's husband unfortunately passed away during COVID in the hospital, and some people were claiming that she did it, and that during her election campaign she was being accused of that. So this seems to be in that realm. Yeah,
could be. And basically, after talking with people involved, I had learned that the FBI had looked into that Stovall sign incident, and they never did anything about it, about that one incident in particular. But they were very curious about the Yemi sign. So that got brought up, I believe, in the questioning about the Stovall sign. But
the questioning where?
As far as like when the FBI was looking into this incident, because they did investigate it. So my question then is, well, then who did it? Where are the charges with that? And could there be somebody else that did it? If this isn't the person who did it, the suspect. And you just think that when you're trying to build a case, these other instances would be brought up, and who did this Stovall sign? If it wasn't Derek or Family Flavors the Slide, allegedly,
because they knew each other, and so what is being said here? Two things. One, is it the same person? Because it seems similar and potentially same handwriting. So did Derek Bernard do this too? But why was that case not pursued?
And why wasn't it in the indictment if it was?
And
Allegedly.
why, right, and now why are there federal charges in this case? So inconsistencies in law enforcement and prosecution, very possibly. When we come back, we're going to be getting more into the timeline of this case. You're listening to The Peak, and we'll be right back. Okay, so remember, straightforward, 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 and we have all these things. But I want
Gotcha.
to, I'd like to get into this blocking the Cora,
Okay.
you know.
Well, we shouldn't say block, but
Okay.
mysterious, unjustified responses, I would say.
No, I don't think that we're going to need to do Cora to get the trial transcripts. will
No,
we?
no, no, no.
Because
This
those
was
are
just
all
for the
public
text.
record,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Go back in a minute. And Cora, what does it stand for? It's a Colorado record. What is? You know what Cora stands for?
Colorado Open Records Act.
Thank you. Okay. $30.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. And we're back with Jordan Baldwin, and we're going deeper into this hate crime hoax. Did Mayor Yemi know, seeking to establish timelines and get more information on it, because, and we'll talk about that during this segment, because there is a federal charges against these people, and it doesn't mean that it has to be this way, but because they've been able to seal up so much of the information that we're trying to get to, that it's difficult to get to it, but we're still working at that, and Jordan will update that on that. I want to say a word before we move on. There was just a promotion right before we came back for the Peak News Educational Foundation, and this is our way of paying it forward. We always wanted to do this as a citizen journalist. It was from the beginning, it was about citizen journalists, but having interns, allowing the youth to come in, and you know, this is how, when I got out of college, and I was in an internship in my senior year, and that turned into a job, and this is how it works in a lot of industries, but absolutely in media, and we had, you know, our success. Our very first intern who started with us in January, James, he, a few months ago, was offered a job here that he now has at Salem Communications here at the age of 20, working here. So these things work, and we have more and more interns coming in all the time. And so please go to thepeak.news, check out the Educational Foundation page, and consider giving. We're a 501c3, and what we're putting together is a journalistic ethics and media vocational training program to plug into the internships, to be offering in the public schools locally, and also to homeschoolers, in order to train up young people in really this sacred responsibility of being a journalist, not an activist, but a journalist. And it seems, by at least how this story is being told, the Yemi story in our town, we need more people trained up in that way. So please go there and consider giving to it. And we've rescheduled. We're having a fundraising event at the end of January in Colorado Springs. It's going to be a lot of fun for the foundation, and we'll be telling you more about that soon. We were just doing a lot of planning on that yesterday. It's going to be great. So put it on the calendar. I'll tell you, January 30th in the evening, plan to be there again. A lot of fun we're going to have, and raising money for a great cause. So in this segment, we're going to talk about updating what we've been presenting to you. Real quick, if you're joining us, we've been covering this for the past few weeks as the Daily Wire article, and you can go on our website. We set up a special website with all of our programs and third-party information on the Peak website, thepeak.news/hate crime hoax, or you can get to it from our main page, and go there and check it out for yourself. We've had different people giving different information, and it's really for us to sort through it and figure it out, and hopefully you want to do that too. Is that the Daily Wire broke a story that back in 2023, our Mayor Yemi as a candidate, there was a hate crime hoax that was perpetrated on his behalf, that he knew about it before, during, and after, was in contact with these people, and then lied to the FBI about it when they questioned him. The third time they questioned him, he said he didn't remember, and then the FBI didn't press charges because, according to this article, and an FBI official that is yet unnamed, that they weren't going to prosecute because he was the first black mayor. So here we have this, skin color privilege thing, which should absolutely not be part of our judicial system, pro or con. So why are we spending so much time on this story? One, because no one else is. Two, because this is what we do. And three, because this thing has legs, if you know what that phrase means. This goes in a lot of different directions. It's not so straightforward. And for those of you in the media who are just saying, well, he came out, did a Facebook Live, said he didn't do it, we're done, we're going to move on, I would suggest not. As much as it's sort of neat to be exclusive and be the only ones, we're a small grassroots organization. You guys have the money, the manpower, all of these things, and I live here, and we want the truth. Yemi's name needs to be cleared, or he needs to be held accountable, but the media has a responsibility to look into it, and so that's why we're doing it, and we're hyper-focusing on it for a bunch of different reasons, but mostly because others aren't. But if they want to step forward, we're happy to share information. We would. That's very strange with media organizations. We'd be very happy to share with other organizations if they're really willing to get in this things. We're not going to keep things back. We would share these things with you if you're really going to use it for the purpose of serving the public. So all of that said, Jordan Baldwin, tell us, you've been reaching out doing core requests, which is the Colorado Open Records Act. There's other things that we want to look into. Like, I realize we really need to get the trial transcript from this Bernard murder for hire trial, because we need to know more about it. Like, we need to know so we can comment better on it. But what have you been finding as you've been trying to get access to information that we would like to report on?
Yeah, I'm finding that a lot of this is being blocked. A lot of it is sealed. There's protection orders coming down as they're putting things out, as indictments are dropping. So most of this is sealed, and it's very hard to look into the specific details of some of this because you just can't find it out unless you're talking to the people involved themselves.
Which you have been.
Right, correct. And it's just concerning because we have this set of circumstances here. We have these accusations against Yemi. So we're trying to get all of these things. We're trying to get the transcripts. We're trying to get the text messages. We're trying to get all of this, but it seems like it's just either not possible or we're being blocked and we have to go through another route. So with the texts, we see that the city of Colorado Springs, we sent 3 separate requests. They sent us back a blanket request, one for all
Response.
3. Correct. One for all 3, from what I was told, that they could not fulfill it because it would take too much time and they needed the dates, the date ranges. Now, one of these requests, it was perfectly put. The date ranges were there, everything was there. So we're looking into that, but there's some concerning things that are happening, and you'd think that we would have some of this information by now through these other methods, but we're having to go through the actual people to get them, and that might not always be possible, because some of these things they're being told they can't speak on, especially like the
certainly.
Yemi thing.
And we don't want to throw any, like, that's not strange. There's a trial coming up, scheduled right now for January 21st, and these things will have to come out then. But until then, it's pretty common for certain things within a trial to not be accessible, because they, with the jury pool and everything, they don't want to color that.
Yes, exactly, and that's going to be another thing that we're doing, is we're going to be reporting live during the trial. Maybe not live, but we'll be reporting on the ground during the trial and just following up with that. They're listening to everything that they're saying and reporting back to you as we can.
So we've put on this page, the peak.news/hate crime hoax, a tip form that you can be anonymous, and we've had people reach out to us, and a lot of the information that Jordan is getting is from people that claim that they have information, they're part of this, and of course we have to vet that and everything, but this is how we're getting the information. So please reach out to us through that form if you think that you have something to add to this. This is part of being a citizen journalist, and again, if you need to be anonymous or kept confidential, we can absolutely do that. So Jordan, give us the timeline in brief. We have a few minutes, of the crime. And how things have been stretched out, because there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, so basically we have this timeline leading up to this where Derek was incarcerated, and it seems to me... Derek Bernard, correct. It seems to me like there was these new charges that came, and he was incarcerated, and then these charges would drop right when something was set to be dismissed. We see an assault case that he was indicted on back in 2023, I believe, and that was processing. He was out on bail, I think, and that's when he was arrested for the attempted murder charges from 2020 that I believe you referenced at the beginning of the show. And it was, during this time around this time when we see the Judge May files come in and the accusations against Ashley Blackcloud, because she was there at those cases and trying to advocate, at his trials and whatnot.
And these were all part of it. And if I know that's a lot of information, this is why we've done so many shows on it. You can go back and you can get these links from our website of the federal indictment. Ashley Blackcloud is one of the parties listed with Derek Bernard in that, and so in establishing these relationships. But it seems that there was just a lot of charges coming down on Derek Bernard, one after the other, where it seems this is a pretty bad guy. I mean, if you looked at all of them, especially just been convicted of murder, and yet he professes his innocence, and that what is he saying the reason why all these charges were coming against him?
Well, basically saying that they have been targeted, that Family Favors the Slide was reporting on controversial things, investigating things, and they have become a target due to their reporting. That being said, Family Flavors the Slide is a local media entity, and as we know, Mayor Yemi did work with them on some level and knew them as media. So here we have this situation of these cases, them reporting on these cases as media, and then them trying to ask legitimate questions as media. From everything I understand, and then Judge May and these situations, we just put the Judge May files up, coming down on not just Derek but Ashley Blackcloud, and they were vindicated on that. They were found to be not guilty of any of that stuff.
Of possibly trying to intimidate a judge that was involved.
Correct. That maybe this judge was threatened. There was implications. She had said that she didn't feel safe. There was other people mentioned in these accusations. I'll let you look to that. But no judge was ever threatened, and everything was clear. Their name was cleared. But then it seems that these Judge May files were buried. So now we're bringing them out and bringing them to you, but it's an important part of this story.
And what we have is, and we talked about this, I believe, in the last program we did on this, that there were 12 or 13 different judges who recused themselves in these trials. And one of the things that we're working on to talk to you about in the future is why so many judges, and we had George Brockler, the DA, tell us it's very strange that all of that. So lots going on here. Check out Hate Crime Hoax on our website. When we come back, whistleblowers.
I was trying to do the dance.
I know, but we gotta
But I think we got out what we need to get out.
Okay, it's just, you referenced Judge May, there was no background, you didn't say anything about it, so we just gotta make sure that I don't have to keep jumping in and filling in the
Gotcha.
gaps. Yes,
Jim's rant is 2 minutes and 43 seconds long.
okay, so
You
I got
have-
4:45. Right, yeah, about
4:35. Wait, no, you're right.
45, and what's it on? What's it on?
It's on Joe Biden pardoning people.
Okay. Keeps, I didn't even keep him to the 2:30. It's encroaching onto our time every day.
But I think that the direction that we went with that and what we got out is really good, especially with where we're going with this. It's really going to be good.
It's very hard to track, so we just need
Less
things.
info, more.
Yeah, and the connection. This is, you know, this is a data point. Why does it matter? This is a data point. Why does it matter? This is
Gotcha.
a data point. This is the person. This is what they did. Why does it matter?
Right.
Like we need to keep.
So not necessarily a setup, but the connection in between.
Yeah, the connection, because, you know, again, you have recursive knowledge. Like, you know so much, so you're filling in the gaps in your head.
Right.
But for people driving in their car, they're not immersed in this. They're trying to track, and this is where you take everything and you filter it and you just package it up for consumption.
If you want, I will, like on a PowerPoint or something, build a timeline we could put.
Yeah, that we could put up, and it would also help all of us.
Yeah,
know,
if
I
you
think
want to
keep
say,
adding.
I mean, if you want to announce
We'll
that,
see if we can. Maybe we can grab a Sharpie.
put it up for the Mayor Yemi segment. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I'll definitely do that, and I think that'll help. There's just so much information.
No, I know.
It's hard to pack.
It's hard. We need to talk about getting content out of the citizen journalists and the interns, and maybe you should just put them on this, doing the grunt work stuff.
I agree.
Because
I agree.
they're not. They need direction, and they're not experienced enough to obviously deliver a complete story, because they're just not. And so we're not getting content. So they should at least be helping you.
Okay, that sounds good. I like it.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. And in this final segment with Jordan Baldwin, I want to talk about whistleblowers. You've heard that term a lot. In any case, there are situations where people would like to give information, but they're concerned about exposing themselves. And so these tip lines and whistleblower tip lines are set up throughout all news organizations in order to get information. And some, it's just people want to give information, they're not part of the story, there's no real reason. And others, people are concerned for their safety. And so we set up a tip line on the peak.news/hate crime hoax, where we're putting all of this information. We should really put it somewhere else on our website, because we would like tips on everything. It's not just this. And it doesn't, this feeling of like it's nefarious or anything. No, if you have information, if you believe it's truthful, to get this data out, that it would be helped. And again, what's our purpose here? To serve the public, that it would serve the public. We would love you to even come on and report on it, but if you feel that you need to be a confidential source, we can do that too. And so we had someone reach out to us, very, very interesting, and we're very careful on this because this is a confidential source, but I asked Jordan to reveal what he can today because of the information that this source is able to give, that really, in a lot of ways, substantiates the claims of the Daily Wire article. And that's what we've been trying to do from the very, very beginning. And we've even said, hey, unnamed FBI official, if you're willing, come talk to us, and anybody involved with this, because admittedly, the Daily Wire article made incredible accusations without identifying the sources. And as well, the Luke Rosiak, the author of it, has not made himself accessible to us or others in the media who've sought to reach out to him. And that's sort of weird, and that calls things into question. How do we source the material? And that's why so much of what we've been doing here has just been, conjecture, because we're trying to substantiate it. And so if you can help, and you have any information you think would be helpful, please reach out to us. Jordan, what can you tell us that you've learned from this whistleblower?
So yes, basically we had a public official from Colorado Springs come to us, well, former public official, should I say. And this former public official basically confirms these accusations made by the Daily Wire whistleblower.
Such as?
Mayor Yemi not being fully transparent in these interviews with the FBI, the DOJ, not wanting to prosecute Mayor Yemi, and a selective form of justice from what they were basically telling me. It seems like this is also why they are no longer a public official, because they saw the injustice and they just felt like it was too much. Maybe not only this particular instance, but this was something they were very concerned about. That's one of the reasons they reached out to us, because there is a much bigger story here than just the hoax, it seems. And, I don't know if Derek did any of this. I'm not here to take sides, but I'm here to report the truth. And it just seems the more people I talk to, the more concerning things we're finding out.
And so this is why it's so important, and I would ask you, to help us out as citizen journalists if you have any information, even if you think it's insignificant, because all of these data points can add up to really telling the story. And having people that are willing to come forward is so important. So again, we've been putting all of this data up, including our reports and third-party reports and other data, really anything we can get our hands on substantive, on our website, thepeak.news/hate crime hoax, and a tip line is on there, and we invite you to join us as we research out this story over time. It's not going away, and we need to know the truth. Jordan Baldwin, thank you so much for another show, and get back out on the street and keep hustling.
I will. I'll be back with you.
And now Jim Miller, just a guy, and the Peak Rants, talking about giving his take on the Biden pardons.
He's got such a radio voice.
Good sec.
Gotta love Jim's radio voice. It's just classic, man. He was made for it.
He is. My wife doesn't like it.
No?
She doesn't like the accent. She says she likes Jim, but she just doesn't like the whole persona thing. But, you know, that's not for everybody, I guess.
It's for guys.
Maybe. So I'd be a little too New York for her.
Oh yeah, it's not for West Coasters. Is your wife from
Miami. Everything isn't for everybody.
That's true.
And I'm seeing more. I'm reading, like, we met planning our event and just talking about how upset people, liberals, are regarding the election still, like that the world's going to end and all of these things. They're down. I mean, I guess, you know, we, after the last election, we all were, you know, conservatives were depressed and worried, but now, I mean, it's this thing of like, I mean, I just read something, you know, this woman like divorcing her husband or whatever, like it's so, people think that Trump is so horrible that now can't do business with anybody who would vote for him, can't be married to, you know, Jim's commented to the fact of like women saying, you know, they're so upset they're not gonna date anybody or do it, and Jim's like, well, that's good, there'll be fewer like liberal children and fewer abortions and fewer, you know, he's talked about that, but it's like all the tolerant people that tell us to tolerate everything, no matter how much it offends us or whatever,
right?
Can't get over the fact that 50% of the people in the country.
Right. Like, where's this attitude coming from? I heard one where this girl went and cheated on her boyfriend because he voted for Trump, like, and posted it on TikTok. You know, like stuff like that.
It's like,
that attitude. Like, how are you gonna ask other people to be tolerant and be the most intolerant?
Intolerant of like of things that, you know, not too long ago people thought were absolutely disgusting and criminal and were no part of society. We're supposed to just let people be people, right? Just like everybody, just let them, you know, you be you, right? Like if that's your thing, you think you're whatever, a furry or whatever, like just tolerate it. But this dividing line on this thing, and, you know, but it's revealing to, I think, the sane people.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think people are waking up too. You know, waking up to the crap.
Another peak news. Thanks so much for joining us as we say the quiet stuff out loud and bring you information that you're not going to find anywhere else. And that's, in a way, you know, we like it. In a way, we really don't. If we are scooped on this story, if others are investigating it, if we would all get together and share information and seek to get to the bottom of it, that would be wonderful. And you know, if you're in the media and you're working for an organization that's limiting your ability to tell the truth, and you want to reach out to us and remain anonymous, we're willing to talk to you too, because you know stuff and you're not being allowed to tell it, and that's not who you, I think, meant to be as a journalist. So, want to do a shout out to Springs Dentist and Dr. Craig Summer, Holistic Dentistry in Colorado Springs, our platinum sponsor, have been with us since before the beginning, and we so appreciate them. They love bringing you the peak, and please check them out if you need a dentist or you want to check into holistic dentistry. Look up Springs Dentist and Dr. Craig Summer. Well, we are air Monday through Thursday, so we'll be back tomorrow. It's Education and Media Day, and we'll be delving deeper into the District 11 School Board's controversial decision last week to end its collective bargaining master agreement with the teachers union. This is just beginning, folks. This is going to be a real fight, and we have D11 School Board member Jason Jorgensen, who's going to be on the program tomorrow. And then Fridays I get to take off because Dirk Hobbs and the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest appears here at this time, 3 to 4 p.m. here on The Answer. Now stay tuned for the Larry Elder Show coming up next here on The Answer. And check out our 150 plus podcasts at thepeak.news. We've been on since January. Great guests, great information. And of course, while you're there on our website, decide to become a citizen journalist or help us out in some way, give to the foundation. We got so much going on that you can be part of as we seek to serve the community. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and with your help, we can say it even louder for such a time as this. Shalom.
Woohoo! Do we have any people live? I know you had that comment.